Gods Meltdown, and today I am joined by.
Derrick of the Conquest.
It's great to be chatting to you this evening. Paradox has been out since April. What's the feedback been like so far from fans and media?
So far, pretty darn good, man. The gigs are always cool. They're loving the new tunes when we play them live, and done a lot of these zooms. And so far, all the response to the tunes again seem to be very, very strong.
It's like a double album though, as well, isn't it? It's so many tracks. 16 tracks is mad
It,
these days, isn't it?
it is. So it's basically 15 tracks of original music, and then we covered the Rainbow track, "Man on the Silver Mountain" with Dio, and him being one of my favorite all-time vocalists, it just seemed like the right thing to do. So we did it, and so far so good.
Brilliant. Walking Dead is like a pure metal track and it's very telling. The world is pretty fucked up, isn't it?
Well, I think you recognize it. I recognize it pretty much everywhere now. For a long time, everybody was acting like it wasn't happening, but it was happening. So
Mm,
I think there's a Walking Dead everywhere.
absolutely. Couldn't agree more. Can he then, obviously, I'm guessing the inspiration and ideas for this album is what's happening in the world at the moment. Yeah.
Yeah, I tend to do that, man. I don't know why. I don't. Not every song on there reflects that, but there's enough of it to where you could go, yeah, I see the concept. What's going on here with it? And so, yeah, everything from the Devil's Creed to, like you said, The Walking Dead to Babylon America, King of the World. It's all pretty much relevant.
Right. Can I ask you, mate? All I'm seeing is your hat. Can you sit back a little bit or just
Oh, sure.
lower
I'm
your.
sorry.
No, no, no. Back up, back up, back up. You can
Uh,
see the screen down a bit. I'm seeing your hat. Hat's talking.
that's good stuff. Hey,
Down a little
heavy
bit.
metal, nothing, everything goes, right?
Down a little bit more. Can you put your camera down a little bit more? Oh, your camera. That's it. Yes.
There you go.
Better. That's better. Right.
Awesome.
My favorite tracks are Celtic Mist and Save Me. Which would you say are your favorites? Is your favorite today and why?
Well, as you just said today, that's
Yeah.
been so I'm so close to the record, obviously. But right now, I'm probably saying "Save Me's" always been one of my favorites, just because of the way it drives. Um, I like Babylon America. I'm big on this. I'm going to say this week, right? Like you just said, I'm going to say Devil's Creed right now. I've been playing a lot of just in my listening format, and it jams. So for me, I think they're all good stuff, but that's where I'm leaning right now.
Brilliant. Well, obviously being a reviewer and that, I get sent a lot of albums, and there seems to be a lot of death metal, a lot of crowd, and I get bored of that after a while. I mean, I've been in the metal since the 80s, and your music is pure heavy metal. How does that feel like when fans are commenting on your YouTube feed and saying this is pure heavy metal and this is what we call metal?
Well, that makes me feel really, really good because that's where I'm at. I'm with you. I think there's a lot of music. There's a lot of great music that's with that style of vocal and all that. But I think it's so redundant. There's so much of it without any variant that it becomes mundane after a period of time. And I believe what you just said is been my formula. Conquest, we really try to be a pure breed of heavy metal. We're not really trying to be one thing outside of the other. I think the record shows that we thrash, we do hard stuff, we do ballads without being sissified stuff, and not there's anything wrong with that. To me, music is just music, and the more fun you can have with it, usually the better the music is. So that's what we did, and I think 15 tracks of original music kind of highlights that for the band.
Brilliant. It's no doubt, like you said about Man on the Silver Mountain, is a favorite track of many, one of my favorites. It was a brave decision to cover that song, and you guys have totally pulled it off, wouldn't you say?
Well, I appreciate that. Again, I never really looked at it that way. I don't look at things of people are going to tear into me or not. I think they're going to no matter what honestly, right? There's people who find it to be killer because they got their mind open, their ears open, and they're listening. And then there's the people that go, oh, you can't do that, blah, blah, blah. It's just terrible. Yeah. Oh, what do you think you're doing? Blah, blah. So at the end of the day, I don't care anymore about that kind of thing. The band doesn't. I know if you ask Mike, he'd answer the same way, Lee and Rob. So from my point of view, we do what we think is cool and fun, and then we do the best we can do with it, and we hope that it translates to where other people like it.
Brilliant. So what about tours and festivals? Have you planned to try and get over to Europe at all?
So it won't be this year, but we're hoping for some late summer next year stuff. We're working on some different things. We're trying to come up with a new agent too for that. We lost our one from before, so working on some different ideas with that. Would love to come over there and see you guys, man. You guys rock, and I love the concept of the festival thing, opposed to like in America where you got to bounce from city to city to city to city, and it's all spread out real far, and it costs a lot of money. So
Yeah.
it kind of you do it, but it's just the rewards aren't there.
Okay, I understand that. It's great to see you guys are so patriotic as well. That's something that's really missing these days, isn't it?
Um, yeah, I think there's a lot of things missing in today's world. If I move this camera, is that still good for
Yeah,
you?
that's good, mate. Yeah, that's good. Yeah.
Cool. Um, I don't know, man. I spend so much time on writing music and trying to make the band just normal and still fit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We're not kids, and man, the next round of music it just keeps coming and coming and coming. But there's no, when you go back when we first started out and was doing all this stuff, man, there was a scene of a particular style, and that kind of dominated, and then you had a variant, but it wasn't 25,000 different genres of heavy metal. Now there's a new term for everything.
There is. Yeah, it's crazy, man. It's absolutely crazy. To sort of on that question, you formed in 1989. The world has changed, especially the music world, beyond recognition. Are you glad you started back then rather than these days of insanity?
Um, I lost you on the last part of there. You kind of faded away.
Are you glad you started back in '89 rather than these days of total insanity where there is so many different genres of metal and so many bands you just can't keep up?
It's so true. I mean, like you say, 89. I mean, there was a lot of bands. We were doing it before then, but when we actually got full blown moving forward serious and it was working, that was about when the first vocal came out where I was on it. Then we had a different singer, and it was cool. We had fun, but we were still in the growing stage of everything. So, but if you take that era of music and all the bands that came out of the mid to late 80s, even some of the earlier stuff, it really, really formed a sound.
Yeah.
But yet at the same time, if you took Metallica, but then you took Armored Saint, or you took Judas Priest, or you took Iron Maiden, nobody sounded the same.
No.
Everybody had their own identity. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I truly believe that's missing in today's world. I'm not talking about scheme such as the makeup or masks or those things. I'm talking about actual audio, what the band sounds like.
Yeah, totally. Going back to the new album, can you tell us a little bit about the album cover, and do you have that framed at your home?
Oh, of course, yeah. Every record we make, we all end up, getting them to go up on the wall, right?
Yeah.
Kind of cool. And you toot your own horn a little bit, but at the same time, a lot of labor of love went into that record and making them. And we did everything this time. What I mean by that is sometimes we let the record company choose art and things like that. We didn't do that this time. We all had a say so in what it was going to look like and how it came out. So we're pretty proud of that.
Brilliant. And was the album cover done by an artist, or was that AI?
No, that was done by me.
Brilliant.
So yeah, if you want to call me an artist, whatever. We just knew kind of what we were looking for and the theme we were trying to lay out there, and some of the rough sketches from the artist per se, from the record company, we were just off in a different direction than where we really wanted to be. So we did it ourselves, and sometimes that works, sometimes that doesn't, but this time it worked.
Brilliant. Okay. So what would you say has been your favorite album you've worked on with Conquest?
Oh, this
Yeah.
one by far. I made a lot of records in my life, and there's been a lot of hoops to jump through, and different people paying for some things at different times makes things differently. Life just does what it does. But when it comes to making music, I try to keep it simple, stupid, and straight ahead. And the band really, really works well these days. And we've always worked well together. But these days, it's like we don't have as much care, I guess. We're not really worried about offending anybody anymore. If you don't like it, don't listen. If you like it, turn it up. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
kind of the way we feel about it. So making this record was a fun experience. It was a long one because of COVID, but
Yeah.
it was fun.
So you've shared the stage with so many amazing bands and icons. Is there some band though you wish you could have shared the stage with that's longer with us?
Well, yeah, right. Playing with getting lucky and chosen on different occasions and falling in line with the right cloud alignment or whatever to get those opportunities. I always feel very, very lucky, and made so many friends off of that. And the stories that you get to take with you when it's all said and done. That's kind of what to me music's about. Money, in today's world, unless you're at the top of the tier, you're not making a whole lot of money. So if that's what you're after, you're probably in the wrong business. But if you're after killer memories and great times, and you love music, well, that's what we do.
Brilliant. Okay, talking about stories then, what is the most outrageous thing you've done in the name of rock and roll?
Well, I don't know if those things can be revealed, but but I could say we've had a lot of fun traveling. America's a pretty cool place to be when everything's working right, and the fans. The cool thing about heavy metal, man, I don't care where you're at. I don't care where you're at. The genre of heavy metal, the true form of heavy metal, usually creates a brotherhood of and sisterhood, if you would, of people of like-minded way of thinking when it comes to music. Doesn't mean we all live the same, but we all love that music, and that is something that you can't really. Wild stories, sure. Back in the day when everybody was kids, there was that era. But I bet you now, if you walk into a Metallica dressing room or prep area, it's very tame. I
Yeah.
bet you if you go into a Megadeth, it's the same way, and you go on down that line, and it's the same way. You might find some kids, you know, uh, dancing with the devil per se, but I don't think too many lifelongers are doing that anymore.
No, definitely not. Um, okay, then. So, which four musicians would be on your own Mount Rushmore of music?
Wow. Um, wow. Definitely Edward Van Halen. Definitely, probably Rob Halford. Um, John Oliva of Sabotage. And I'm going to pick another guitar player. I'm going to say, I'll go with Dimebag.
Brilliant. If there was a heavy metal song, a made up heavy metal song about yourself, what would it be called?
Wow. That's an interesting question. Repeat that so I make sure I heard what you said.
If there was a heavy metal song, like a made up heavy metal song about yourself, what would it be called?
Ah, how about Determined?
Brilliant. Okay. Okay, back to the album. How would you describe Paradox in 4 words?
Strong, aggressive, moody, and deep.
Real. Okay, so it's like 5 questions now, either or either. So the first one is vinyl or digital,
Vinyl.
July the 4th or Christmas,
Same thing.
Beer or hot dogs?
Well, if you're drinking beer, you're probably eating a hot dog. At least in America, you know what I mean?
Festival or small intimate gig?
Uh, uh, man, good question. That's a great one. It's always fun to play big venues, but I think the coolest moments usually happen in the smaller rooms.
Okay. And your final one, are you guys saints or sinners?
Depends on what part of the day it is. I've been both, so we're saints and sinners.
All right, man. I want to thank you so much for your time and for an awesome album. Do you have any final words for your fans, our viewers, and listeners?
Well, I appreciate you doing this. Spread the word, guys. Anybody out there listening, make sure you check this out. Paradox, available where music is sold, vinyl, CD, downloads. And we much appreciate you. Hope to see you guys in the future.